You're listening to the Out of Bounds Show podcast, presented by Independent Roofing Systems. If you want it done right the first time, visit Independent Roofing Systems today.
WRKS Pickens Jack coming back from the Whiskey 61 Lounge inside the BankPlus Studio.
And there it comes again.
Mississippi's #1 sports talk show, The Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds. Streaming worldwide live on the Out of Bounds radio app and on your radio at ESPN 105.9.
What is that?
What is that? The Zone.
All right, good morning. Welcome in to the Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. We'll have Steve Palazzolo on at 8:30 on the Modelo guest line. And then Dave Bartu at 9:30 on the Modelo guest line. 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. Thanks for listening to the show and the station. We appreciate it. Friday Night Lights is powered by MRA Football. They'll play Raleigh this week. At Raleigh. So, MRA football, 6:30 pregame, 7 o'clock kick, Raleigh, Mississippi. And Raleigh has, the #1 player in the state in the junior class that is committed to Ole Miss? He's a 6'4" receiver that they play everywhere. So MRA football will head to Raleigh. You can listen to that on ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Or you can stream it on the Out of Bounds radio app or thezone1059.com. So Friday Night Lights powered by MRA Football. Good morning. Welcome in. Show is brought to you by the Bacon Wrap Shrimp and New York Strip Medium Rare with a glass of Loring Pinot at Kessler Prime in the Renaissance. Visit KesslerPrime.com to make a reservation. Or if you're Blake Mania, you go with the Four Roses Bourbon Old Fashioned. Because Blake is an old soul. No question. He's effective, but he kind of operates like he's 71 years old.
Does that make sense? It's called wisdom. That's what that is.
That's wisdom. Yeah. That's right. I like that. Hit us up on Twitter at Bo Bounds. The Farm Bureau Insurance call-in line is 601-995-1059. Bundle your auto and home and save with your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. Blake, did you just share some an odds maker that thinks that Mississippi State will win the game against LSU?
Yeah, so I'm diving around in the degenerate pool that is sports gambling and found out that
that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, right. Odds Shark, which is a pretty popular odds conglomerate, right? They do a data algorithm for every game, and they had Memphis beating Mississippi State. They have State winning by 2.8 points on their algorithm. So covering the spread and winning outright Mississippi State over LSU. It was 26-23, essentially, was what they were calling.
Okay. 26-23 according to OddsShark.
Where do you think that score has to be for Mississippi State to have the best chance to win?
I think it would be right there in the mid-20s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but I don't trust them to be able to score 30 points.
No, and I would think that Zach Arnett's defense would have to turn LSU over a couple of times, right? Max Johnson, throw a pick, somebody fumble, strip sack.
Yeah.
Mississippi State has been around the quarterback, and they've had a lot of quarterback pressure. Probably not as many sacks as the fan base wants. But Arnett has dialed up some cool stuff, and he has flushed the QBs out of the pocket, at times. You're just going to have a big day. And I think now, looking at it, you would love for that game to be about 5 o'clock in the afternoon to get more people there and for the student section to be a little louder. I don't know if the student section is going to make it there by 11 a.m., so it may be an 11, 20, 11:30 student section. And when the students, this is at Starkville, Oxford, anywhere, when the student section gets to the game 20, 30 minutes before and starts to get loud, to me, it sets a different tone. But I don't think that they're going to be loud at 10:30 in the morning. So if you had a 5 o'clock kick, I think that, you could have a pretty loud stadium by 4:40, 4:45 type deal. That's something to keep an eye on. I still expect a good crowd. There's a ton of LSU fans coming. They always bring a crew, but with everybody sitting out, not everybody, with a lot of people sitting out last year because of COVID, there's obviously a lot more excitement around going to big events, whether it's sports or live music and festivals and so on, which there should be. And so I expect a nice LSU contingent. And if you've kind of monitored StubHub this week, you can see that, kind of the way the shift in tickets has gone. And I know I had to buy a few for a client. And so it was interesting looking at StubHub on Friday for MSU and LSU, then on game day, kind of the way that game went for MSU. And then the last few days, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and so on StubHub with the tickets. To me, it looks like a lot of Mississippi State fans are maybe looking to make a little bank, and either they're going to hang in the Junction or they're going to go to the hunting camp, and they've got a beautiful spot, the farm, whatever, the beach. Now, I mean, I expect still 50,000 Mississippi State fans plus, but you may see a slight little. The number moved for LSU fans. One guy said immediately after the Mississippi State-Memphis game that it'll cost maybe MSU 5,000 fans. That could be the case. We'll all be able to see kind of what it looks like at 11 a.m. But I don't know if the students are going to get there. I was surprised at how they showed up. No, I shouldn't be surprised because last year, same thing. They were, who'd they play? La Tech and NC State. Those two student sections were packed and loud. But that was a 3 o'clock and a 6 o'clock. Now, you got to tip your cap to the students for that 3 o'clock game. I mean, 6 wasn't cool by any stretch. But that 3 o'clock game was just brutal.
But like you said, this is a student group that missed an entire season of their collegiate athletics.
True. So can you roll out of bed after having a big night, wherever, in the Cotton District, Fraternity Row apartments, and get there in time? They're going to need a packed house in the student section because Max Johnson has not played in a hostile environment since he got to LSU because you didn't have any of that last year. So something to keep an eye on. Blake mentioned OddsShark has Mississippi State winning by 2 or 3 points, 26-23, something like that. I would think that would be the ideal game for MSU, and Arnett would really have to rattle Max Johnson in that scenario, or just something. A couple of big things would have to go their way. You feel like they have been fighting uphill, other than North Carolina State. Tulu took that kickback, and even though they missed some plays to put up another easily 14, if not 21 points, and make that score look really, really cool and fun. It was an uphill battle against La Tech, and it was an uphill battle against Memphis. They don't feel like a team that if LSU scores first, that you can kind of get your footing and maybe fight your way back. Maybe you can, but, I even said it against Memphis, who's not a great team. On the scoop and score, you felt like Mississippi State was going to be fighting an uphill battle all day. It really still felt uncomfortable, if you will, at 17-7, even though they came back and threw up a 17-0 run on Memphis. So I think what you want to do is obviously score first, but not allow LSU to throw 4 passes down the field and score. Welcome in. Good morning. Out of Bounds, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. We've got the Carolina Panthers and Blake's Houston Texans tonight. Carolina coming off spanking the New Orleans Saints and the absolute and totally dysfunctional Houston Texans for the last 20 years for Thursday night football. Blake is live in the BankPlus Studio. BankPlus, it's more than a name, it's a promise. MRA Football. Friday Night Lights is powered by MRA Football. on ESPN 105.9 The Zone, WRKS. Steve Palazzolo on Aaron Rodgers and Dak Prescott at 8:30 on the Modelo guest line. You can order award-winning Jonesy Q rubs and sauces at jonesyq.com. Use promo code OOBSHOW if you order $20 or more and receive free shipping. That's jonesyq.com. Promo code OOBSHOW. Somebody just said on the text line that I called Mississippi State a G5 team. That's not what I said. I mean, they have too many G5 players on their roster. I will say that. So I guess that can hit the message board in 3, 2, 1. I think what I said in August is kind of, showing its ugly head that they don't have a difference maker on offense or defense. That doesn't mean that they don't have some good players, but there is, you look at other teams that do have a difference maker or 2, 3, or 4, there's a difference. Whether that's an edge rusher, quarterback. Georgia, edge rushers. Ole Miss, quarterback. Bama, combination. But, yeah, I do think that they're too mean G5 play. Blake and I did some of the looking back at the recruiting classes. Look back. You can come up with 15 players. 18 players in like a minute and a half that aren't playing, that you were, that were supposed to be good football players. Or contributors. I'm not saying Chris Jones or Matt Corral type players, Laramie Tunsil or Fletcher Cox. But man, we did a quick run yesterday. You can look at it and go, there's a lot of players who aren't even contributing that you thought by now would either be starting or in the two deep. It's an interesting deal what happened. And I know it was a quick 24 months, but if you really want to do a deep dive and just spend a few minutes on it, much less if you spend like 10 minutes on it, if you want to do a deep dive on the 24 months of Joe Moorhead, it's kind of scary. But, hey, he's a good offensive coordinator, especially against a bad Ohio State defense. Out of Bounds, 105.9 The Zone, WRKS, ESPN. We're streaming live on the Out of Bounds radio app. I've got Blake Mania with me. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. Welcome in. Good morning. Excited about this weekend. Can't wait to see what happens with LSU and Mississippi State. I think that the Arkansas A&M game is really cool because both Lane Train and the Pirate play both teams here sooner than later. We'll flip out of that in a couple of weeks. And on the same weekend, Ole Miss will play Arkansas as Mississippi State will play – no, I'm sorry, Mississippi State will play A&M the weekend that Ole Miss is playing Bama. But anyway, you're going to play those teams like boom. So you get an idea of kind of who they are and where they are. Arkansas is about a 25 recruiter. One thing that, hey, we can take some shots at Blake, who's the guy who was at Clemson and took the Arkansas job from SMU?
Chad Morris.
Yeah. We can take shots at Chad Morris not having like Moorhead, the ability to run the program A to Z. He recruited some good players. They were pretty aggressive, and they whipped Mississippi State and Louisiana on some players and so on. So, but they're more of a veteran-laden team. But Arkansas and A&M, both the Rebs and the Dogs are going to play them in the next couple of weeks. And so I think that is a super intriguing matchup. Does Jimbo take care of business? And do they win comfortably, even though they're kind of trying to grow up on offense but dominant on defense? Could this game be like 20-17?
Yes, 100%.
17-14?
Arkansas is going to run the ball. They're going to hold on. That's just their recipe against Texas. They're going to run. Yeah,
Kendall Browse, keep it away. no doubt.
Let me ask you this: on a scale of 1 to 10,
and then Tennessee, Florida. Go ahead, Blake. I know we got to talk in Braves too.
Yeah, a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being no big deal and 10 being the greatest big deal. Jimbo loses Saturday against Arkansas. What's that number?
Oh, I think it's devastating. I think it's 10.
Okay. Because, I mean, they were in the quote-unquote SEC championship hunt last year.
Sure.
A one-loss team.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Aggies fans in year 4 losing to an Arkansas team that is really trying to figure it out on offense, and Jimbo has moved them in as a top 5 recruiter. I think Aggies, I think they'll be like, what in the world is going on? So if Kendall Briles and Barry Odom are able to pull this off, what a big win for the Razorbacks. They've already beat Texas. Should A&M win? Yes. Will they? Who knows? Game's on a neutral field, so that means nothing. I mean, Dallas can't even really get a home field advantage because of the way Jerry built that thing. So it doesn't matter how many Aggies show up. It's not going to be anything like if they were playing in College Station. So it truly is a neutral field. And I'm intrigued with Arkansas and A&M. Because of just the game, but also because the Rebs and the Dogs play the two teams here in the next couple of weeks. And then Tennessee at Florida. And Tennessee, obviously Ole Miss travels to Tennessee in a few weeks. And they're on like their 5th coach in 10 years. And they're trying to figure it out too. What's amazing about Tennessee and some of these programs is they don't ever move from where they recruit. You know, like they can flip coaches and stay right there at 12, 13, 14 in recruiting. It doesn't matter. But the deal is, can they, do what they need to do on the field? All right, Blake, the Atlanta Braves AA affiliate, Mississippi Braves, will play tomorrow and Saturday.
That's right. Games 3 and 4 of their 5-game series against the Montgomery Biscuits for their Southern League Championship. They split 1 game apiece in Montgomery the last 2 nights. Braves lost game 1, came back, won game 2, and so now they have for sure Friday and Saturday, and depending on how that goes, could be playing Sunday. So Braves looking for only their 2nd league title since the team was put together in Jackson, 17 years ago now, something like that?
Very cool. So the Braves, Atlanta Braves AA affiliate, have 2 home playoff games tomorrow and Saturday and maybe more, but guaranteed Friday and Saturday at Trustmark, the Braves in Pearl, beautiful ballpark, and they have been a phenomenal team. They've just been an awesome team all year since April. So we'll keep an eye on that. See how that looks. 2 home games, Friday and Saturday. Mississippi Braves, Atlanta Braves, AA affiliate. Let's switch gears. Somebody on the text line said that Ben Roethlisberger is the John Daly of NFL QBs.
Accurate.
We want our QBs buttoned up now. Back in the day, when you had Namath and Stabler and some of these guys, today there's such a microscope on you. You're expected, obviously, to be a leader, unbelievable presence in the locker room, the guy that obviously you get a lot of the love, if not all of it, when you win, and when you lose, you take just about all of the loss within the fan base and so on. Now that we have all the games, the red zone, we get to see every throw, every pick, right? Peyton Manning was talking about that on a podcast a couple of months ago. He was like, can you imagine if they had the red zone or every game was broadcast in 1998 when I threw 29 picks or 31, whatever it was. Twitter and so on. Do you like that, Blake, that Roethlisberger is the John Daly of NFL QBs for the modern era?
I think he nailed it, absolutely. And I like it. I think what Aaron Rodgers is doing, kind of acting a fool, I'm all for quarterbacks showing their personality.
Of course you are. Oh, man. Do we have any Braves tickets? I think we can do that. We'll talk about that maybe at 9 a.m., Rebel Greg, on the text line. Steve Palazzolo coming up next. The Out of Bounds Show is brought to you by this amazing weather, which is brought to you by Sam Adams Oktoberfest. It will not be on the shelf long. Sam Adams Oktoberfest. Palazzolo next.
The Out of Bounds Show podcast is brought to you by Kessler Prime. For the best steaks in Mississippi, visit Kessler Prime in the Renaissance.
All right. Good morning. Welcome in. Some people believe that Steve Palazzolo may be related to Aaron Rodgers. So, we may talk about that too. We were talking about this cool look that Aaron Rodgers has now as, kind of this new 2021 for Aaron. And played poorly in week one, was lights out Hall of Famer in week two, looked like the best quarterback in the league. You're listening Out of Bounds, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, brought to you by the delicious New York-style pizza at Sal and Mookie's in Madison and Sal and Mookie's in Jackson. They have pizza specials every day. You get a huge slice or two, depending on which way you want to go, of New York-style pizza. And then, of course, you can pair it with a salad and have some fun with that. Lunch specials, Sal and Mookie's in Madison, Tuesday through Friday. We welcome in Steve Palazzolo, PFF, Pro Football Focus, PFF.com. He joins us on the Modelo guest line. Also, Sal and Mookie's has Modelo on draft. All right, Steve, what do you make of Aaron Rodgers' new look this year in 2021?
It reminds me of Brady did that in 2010, kind of grew the hair out and just this weird 1 year different look. I don't know. I thought he might cut his hair after week one, but he did stick with it, and maybe it was the right decision.
What did y'all ran the numbers on every single play against the Lions? What was the number? What'd you come up with as far as Aaron's rating? Grade.
He was in the 70s in our system, so green, good grade. Not as good as the stats for like near perfect passer rating and all that stuff. A lot of easy passes in the flat where he had a touchdown on a tap pass to Aaron Jones, easy pass in the flat to Aaron Jones. I think he had two legitimate big time throws. I mean, downfield, put it right in Devontae Adams' hands. The seam route to Tanyan was just perfect, unbelievable. Also got away with a pass that should have been picked off that didn't show up in the stat sheet. So far more good than bad, but not as good as a near perfect passer rating might indicate in that game.
Are those your expectations for 2021 for him to be a little bit up and down? I mean, he was great last year, right? And so he kind of countered the Green Bay front office, if you will. The year before, I think you told us he wasn't as good as he has been. What are your expectations for him, throughout the year?
Yeah, so I think if you look at Rodgers' career, I've said this before too, right? There are times in his career where he was the clear, was playing better than anyone else at quarterback. It was 2011 and 2014 and that stretch in 2016 and then all of last season. I don't expect that. I don't expect him to be the clear top quarterback necessarily because there's only been a handful of times when that's been the case. But, he's been a very good quarterback, obviously, outside of that. So, I mean, I expect him to perform like a top five guy. I don't think that's a crazy expectation for Rodgers this year. But we'll see. I mean, it was the Lions last week. They've generally an easier defense. We'll see if it was just the Lions and a bounce-back game or if there's any merit to just how poor Rodgers looked in week one against the Saints. So, again, I think he'll be fine, but I don't think he'll dominate the rest of the season the way he did last year in 2020.
But you have them as the overwhelming favorite in their division?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, as long as you have Rodgers and the other teams have issues, I mean, unless Justin Fields is an immediate superstar, I think that's probably a fair prediction that it's the Packers' division to win. The Vikings are already 0-2, have their own issues in their secondary. So, yeah, it would essentially take, the Vikings to turn things around or the Bears to just get a superstar in Justin Fields now that he's playing for anything to change there.
Steve Palazzolo, PFF.com, Pro Football Focus. He joins us on the Modelo guest line. What did you see from Dak? No touchdowns, but 23 of 27, 237 yards. They ran the football effectively. Pollard was unbelievable. I thought they got a little too conservative for a big chunk of the game, but they ended up pulling out. How did Dak grade out, Steve?
It was another solid week for him, and it's going to – I hope it doesn't change the narrative too much because you know me, I'm over there telling you to chuck it around left and right and just go crazy and just hope the defense does better. The defense did make some key stops, helped by the refs, maybe a touch on Herbert in the red zone, but the defense was better, and it wasn't because Tony Pollard was great. The defense just made some stops, but the Cowboys probably want to score more than 20 points going forward. I do think Pollard is a more effective runner than Zeke Elliott. I mean, I think that's pretty clear, as good as Zeke is in pass protection. That's a handful of plays per game. I think Tony Pollard deserves more plays. I do think there's an element to, the Cowboys wanting to – I think they should still be putting the ball in Dak's hands, though. It still should be his team. One mistake in there, turnover-worthy play that turned into an interception. But overall, he was efficient. He's been efficient through 2 weeks. And I want to see them continue to try to score points and not rely too heavily on that run game. But it was nice to see the defense make some stops to help them last week.
And what about Justin Herbert? He made some great throws. I know they didn't win, but he's kind of the maturation process continues for him. How do you see it?
Yeah, very impressive. I mean, he had a 40-yard cover 2 shot, which is just, the hole between the cornerback and the safety and cover 2. It's just along the sideline. You usually see that 20 yards down the field, and Herbert was doing it 40 yards down the field. His arm is absolutely spectacular. But he had some bad decisions in there, too. So it was an up-and-down game for Herbert. We had him with 4 big-time throws, so those special cover 2 type of shots. But interception in the end zone, really good interception by Trevon Diggs. So a couple of rough throws in there for Herbert. But overall, he just continues to impress. I think his game management was better than I expected coming out of Oregon. I didn't think he had a great feel for, late in the game and various things like that. And through 2 weeks, Herbert's been very impressive. So he's a good young quarterback and, had his usual ups and downs against the Cowboys on Sunday.
What do we do with Lamar Jackson? Blake's been debating this all week. Chiefs, Ravens. The Honey Badger is owning him early. But then they just have the Ravens kind of let him go, Madden football, if you will, or Sandlot football. He's so talented with his legs, and the Ravens are able to turn that game. What do you make of Lamar's performance early and late in that game, Steve?
Yeah, so that first, the pick six, I think, was probably more on Sammy Watkins falling over, and so it looked bad. Bad red zone pick by Lamar. He missed a ton of throws. He was definitely very inconsistent as a passer in that game. But I think this started in college, right, where you had quarterbacks who were so dynamic as runners that they could handle a game. I used to joke that it was the J.T. Barrett game. So J.T. Barrett a couple years ago had a game where he was like 9 for 24 and was horrible against, I think it was Michigan State. But he ran like 20 times for 100-something yards and Ohio State ran an efficient offense despite an ugly passing attack. We've seen this a little bit with Taysom Hill in the Saints, right? I mean, you don't have to be great as a passer if the quarterback run game is effective. And I think that's what Lamar brings to the table. I always use the phrase, it raises the floor of the offense. If another quarterback throws the ball the way Lamar did, which was average to below average the other night, they have no shot. But because Lamar is so good in the designed running game, not the run around and just make plays on pass plays, it's designed run game where you put the ball in his hands, you block it up for him, and you win the numbers advantage. The Ravens' offensive line dominated the Chiefs. So it just gives the Ravens other opportunities to win, even if it's ugly along the way. And before you know it, they're scoring over 30 points. It didn't feel like it for the Ravens the way they were throwing the ball. They made just enough plays in the pass game. But, again, I just think Lamar raises the floor of the offense. You have to account for him. That'll create more open throws. And you can be effective on the ground because he's so dynamic as a runner.
So, and you feel like he can do this for years, Steve? Like,
I think so, because I
6,
think
8
when you talk about
years?
Yeah, I think so. You can. I think durability at the quarterback position is about taking hits. So you just watch Carson Wentz play, and you're cringing over and over and over again. Even though he's 6'5", 240, you're cringing because he just takes hit after hit. And when he's about to get hit, he doesn't protect himself. He tries to throw it while getting hit, and it looks worse. And the quarterbacks have to protect themselves. And I think Lamar is really good at protecting himself. It doesn't mean he's never going to get hit, but I think, as long as he keeps his speed and agility, which is, next level, I think he can do it. Now, the Ravens want to have a more balanced offense, and by balance, I don't mean run-pass splits. I mean, you're going to have games where maybe the run game is taken away or is less effective, and Lamar's got to hit more throws. He can't miss as many throws as he's missed through 2 weeks. So you'd rather see him develop in that area, and he showed that a little bit in 2019. But as far as durability and everything, I think he'll be okay. I think he does a good job of not getting squared up, and he's fast enough to just avoid getting crushed for the most part.
Man, he's fun to watch. That is
certainly is.
Man, I mean, fun to watch. All right, let's stay in that division. NFL Insider Steve Palazzolo. Y'all check out Pro Football Focus, PFF.com. And subscribe. It's great. NFL and college. And Steve joins us on the Modelo guest line. What about hurt or not hurt? Is Roethlisberger done?
He's one of those guys. Every time he's hurt, he looks like breaks his leg in a game, and then he comes limping back out, and he's fine. I mean, that's probably what we're going to see this week. Oh, I got a torn left tack. Oh, it's all over, and he's going to come out and throw for 300. This week, I think he's not as good as he used to be. I think it's fair. He doesn't have the same kind of arm strength. His accuracy and decision making has been great, but his accuracy's been a little all over the place. Dating back to last year, actually dating back to 2018, which was the last year he was healthy, even though he threw 5,000 yards. But there's something about Big Ben where I think he's got this natural playmaking ability, and they've got receivers. I think there's a world where if he just keeps chucking it up down the field to Chase Claypool and giving Deontay Johnson a chance to make plays, in Pat Freiermuth, the rookie tight end, they've got some good playmakers. So I'm not ready to completely write off the Steelers, but they're working behind a rough offensive line, Big Ben's regression. He's not done. He's not cooked, but he's working with a much finer, smaller margin of error than he did in the past, and he just can't make the bad mistakes that he's been making so far through 2 weeks.
All right, Cowherd was ranting and raving about the Steelers not having a succession plan for Roethlisberger. Are you surprised with the way they're run and the Rooneys that it doesn't look like they have a I mean, I guess they could pull something, but right now it doesn't look like they have a really good plan post Roethlisberger?
I don't know if you need a succession plan in today's NFL. There are so many starting caliber quarterbacks in the NFL. And again, I use starting caliber as, top 32 quarterbacks. If Big Ben retires and next year the Steelers need a quarterback, they could find a starter. Sam Darnold just went, he's starting caliber. He's over in Carolina. I always use Marcus Mariota as an example. Finding those guys that can at least start football games for you and be efficient and not embarrass the organization and be terrible, those guys are out there. That's fine. So I don't know what the other alternative is. They didn't have a top 10 pick. They're not going to, they didn't have a chance to draft a Zach Wilson or a Trevor Lawrence to sit there and develop behind Roethlisberger. Late first-round picks where the Steelers are generally picking. What are you going to do? So it's a tough balance, for the Steelers. They took a shot on a Dwayne Haskins. It's probably not going to work out. That's fine. You take a shot. So I don't think they're going to be. It'd be nice to have somebody waiting in the wings, but it's not like every team has been, has an opportunity to do that. So I don't think it's not terrible. But yeah, the Steelers will be in the quarterback market, probably next offseason.
All right, I know you work for the smartest football website in the world, but I'm going to drop some knowledge on you. Are you ready?
All right. Yeah.
Okay. If the first the team that picks first in the NFL draft next year, if they need a quarterback,
I know
if they don't already have one, then Matt Corral's going to be the first pick in the NFL draft.
Matt Corral's the guy?
Yeah.
He might be. He really might be.
Now, I don't really know what I'm looking at, but I'm watching Spencer Rattler 2 games this year, and I'm watching Matt Corral, and I'm watching some Sam Howell, and some. I mean, it's not close. But anyway, all right, let's keep moving. I just want you to remember I said that on September 23rd, 2021, before the 2022
I like it.
NFL draft. All right, let's stay with quarterback play. And the Saints' defense was awesome in week 1, and then all of a sudden they go to Carolina, and they're somewhat humbled. What did you make of the Saints and the Panthers this past weekend?
Yeah, I mean, the Saints were without a bunch of coaches, 8 coaches, right? No Marshawn Lattimore, no Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in the secondary. Those guys are huge. I just think the Panthers are a good football team. I don't know if we're going to be talking about the Panthers as 3-0 probably tomorrow morning, and their defense is legit and all this stuff. They're probably not that good, but it's a good, solid football team. They're doing nice things offensively as far as creating easy throws for Sam Darnold and, creating mismatches with Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore. So it's a pretty good football team that the Saints lost to. But I also think Marcus Davenport missing up front. They were missing a lot of pieces all over the defense. Jameis reverted back into old Jameis, throwing the ball while he's fallen over and all the things that he didn't do in week 1. So it might be a volatile Saints team. They might be volatile just the way their quarterback is volatile on a week-to-week basis. But I think there were definitely some other circumstances that hurt the Saints in that particular game.
Saints at New England. Who do you like and why?
Oh, probably New England. I don't want to overreact to the Saints loss last week. I do think New England's just playing their type of game, defense, running the ball, Mac Jones not making a ton of mistakes and taking what's there. If Mac Jones doesn't force the ball against this good, aggressive Saints defense, I think the Pats will be okay in that particular game. But again, it's like the Saints will be the team that you just never want to bet. You never bet on or against Jameis Winston. You just never know what you're going to get. You could get great. You could get, again, the number of times that he's thrown a football while falling over backwards in his career is incredible. It is absolutely incredible. He must be leading the world with 5 in his career, and everyone else has 1. It's incredible. So you never know when Jameis is going to throw the ball while falling over. So you can't predict it. So don't ask me to predict any more Saints games here every week. Give me the pass for now.
All right. Palazzolo on the Modelo guest line. Eagles at the Cowboys. Dallas's first home game, Monday Night Football. 2 teams are 1-1. Who do you like?
Yeah, I'll lean Cowboys here. The Eagles were really impressive in week 1, less impressive in week 2 against the 49ers. They beat up on the Falcons week 1. Falcons look like a pretty bad football team on both sides of the ball. Again, I'll use the same thing I said about Lamar, though. Jalen Hurts raises the floor of that offense, even though they only scored 11 points. There was some quirky stuff in there in that particular game. But they can run the ball effectively. He creates open throws when Jalen Hurts has open throws. He's been hitting them for the most part. So I think it's a good game. It's seeing Jalen on the road, playing against the crowd and all that stuff will be another factor potentially here. But I like the Cowboys. I think they can. If Dak is patient against Philly's zone defense, he can be patient, find the open receiver, do his thing. It'll probably look a little bit more like the Tampa Bay game than last week when it was more run heavy. Is my guess. They'll put it in Dak's hands and score some points.
Will Tampa Bay take their first loss this weekend? They have to travel out to the West Coast and play McVay and Stafford and the Rams. That's a 3:25 kickoff our time, I think 4:25 yours. But will Brady and Bruce Arians take their first L this weekend, Steve?
It's a huge challenge. It's also the first time Brady's played with the Bucs outdoors. On the road with a crowd. So, it's not a completely new system for Brady, but communication could be a thing for the first time. And the Rams defense did a really nice job against the Bucs last year. Brady had a couple bad games last year. The Rams was one of them. So I think they've got a shot. The way the Rams are moving the ball offensively, the way their defense, they're using Jalen Ramsey all over the field, he's playing like a linebacker, cornerback, safety hybrid position and just dominating at it. So I think the Rams defense is equipped to at least slow the Bucs. And the Bucs defense has given it up the first 2 weeks. They've given up a lot of points, and the Rams offense is really efficient. So I think it's a great game. I would pick the Bucs to win in a really close game, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams come out of this 3-0.
Has Kyler Murray taken this giant leap forward? I mean, Cliff, it's still early, but they're 2-0, and they pull the Jaguars. So obviously, if they lose, it'll be a devastating loss. But they have a chance to go 3-0. Steve, do they do it this weekend?
Yeah, I think the Cardinals are 3-0. Kyler, again, with a quarterback who can create with his legs, it just gives you so many other options to win. Kyler's winning from the pocket, doing a great job there, but he also has 2 or 3 of those passes where he's just scrambling around and finding an open receiver, and they can use him in the design running game. So Kyler's definitely a little bit more comfortable. He's got to cut down on the interceptions. He's got 3. They're bad ones too. Pick 6 the other day, and bad one in the red zone. So the MVP hype is high, but you got to cut back on those turnovers. But the Cardinals are doing a great job using Rondale Moore in the screen game and getting him open. And they have DeAndre Hopkins, who's a little banged up, but they've got weapons and playmakers and Kyler, and I'm just loving the way the Arizona offense is coming along. So yeah, I think we'll be talking about them as 3-0, and the Kyler Murray MVP hype train will continue.
So if they get in the playoffs, Cliff Kingsbury is going to extend his career as a head coach in the NFL. That's amazing.
The tricky part for the Cardinals, though, is they do have to play the Rams twice, the Seahawks twice, the 49ers twice. Those teams are going to beat up on each other. So it's early to declare anything for the Cardinals. I can't wait. Those division games are going to be fantastic out west.
All right, we'll leave it there. PFF.com, NFL Insider. He's got a great podcast, too. He is Steve Palazzolo, and he joins us on the Modelo guest line. Real quick, Steve, one of our listeners said that Ben Roethlisberger is the John Daly of NFL QBs. Do you agree with that?
That's a great comparison. So, yeah, let's roll with it. That's a great one.
Have a good weekend, buddy. Thanks, man.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Steve Palazzolo on the Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone, WRKS, ESPN. And Palazzolo joined us on the Modelo guest line. That segment was brought to you by the super, super amazing selection of premium cigars at Havana Smoke Shop. 2 locations across from Shaggy's at the Reservoir, and then I-55 North and Frontage Road in Jackson, just north of Northside Drive. So this is cigar weather. It's football. It feels great. Lighting the grill year-round is great, but, man, when the weather breaks a little bit, it's even better. So we'll feature the Rocky Patels at Havana Smoke Shop. Let's go with Liga Privadas and then Olivas. Wonderful selection of game day cigars. Of course, it's game day today. And get the fire pit going and the grill. Stop by Havana Smoke Shop as you get ready for game day all the way through the weekend. Today through Monday night. NFL, college, SEC, and high school football. Great selection of premium cigars at Havana Smoke Shop across from Shaggy's on the Reservoir and I-55 North, Frontage Road. Show is also presented by BreezyOaksRanch.com. Mississippi farmers, Wagyu beef, heritage pork, from pork chops to ribeyes to bacon to delicious premium sausage. Canton and Baden, Mississippi farmers offering it to you. They'll deliver to your door, ship it to your door. BreezyOaksRanch.com. That's BreezyOaksRanch.com. Back in a second.